How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lone Wolf, and today I've just got a bit more like mission gameplay and a couple of bits and bobs. I've been testing out a few things tonight. I was trying to get, you know how I lost my Voron? I was trying to get that bug to see if I can not duplicate the truck, duplicate the bug. So I had a sacrificial Don 71. But anyway, I've been doing a lot of bits and bobs tonight. So I came and did a bit of gameplay because I was enjoying that a bit, and I'm doing this mission in Smithfield Dam where you got to run some bricks from like the sort of warehouse place I just picked it up from just after you're over the Smithfield Dam, and then I've got to drive like near to the Drummond Island entrance and drop them off. Yeah, so that's the start. I'll talk more about the bug in a little bit. There was a couple of things I wanted to know though, because I'm going to get on with my reviews. I needed some money to buy. I'm going to probably hopefully do the P12 next, but obviously it's money dependent, so worst case I'll do say I would like to do the R87 review as well, but I didn't have enough time to like do it properly, and I don't want to just sort of rush it and do it half-assed. So yeah, came and did some missions, drove me a GMC over there accidentally. Yeah, I could have gone and done a loaf rescue obviously, but you know, just because you're hung like a donkey doesn't mean you have to do porn. It's just a viable option. Yeah, so anyway, I completed this mission. You can see 702, and I just did it by myself. And on the way, I bought a maintenance trailer and fixed myself. Oh, it was a brick. Thought it was like a drive-by shoot and about to duck and roll. I mean, look, loaf goes full Ken loaf around there. Yeah, I bought a maintenance trailer to fix my truck. So by the time I delivered them in 702, I had smashed my truck up a lot. Like I had, I think, a burst fuel tank, a popped tyre, the engine was almost knackered. So I came to try it again with the towing the loaf behind me, and obviously you all know full well I like the loaf, but this is doable with at least some of the other scout vehicles. Basically, if you imagine, I'm now driving it. I've got to be in this view anyway for this mission, so you can't even see the loaf now. It's not bothering me. It's not affecting me. I'm in high gear anyway because when I did this the first time, I kept going in auto, but even up the roads, like, as most of you know, in this White Western Star, I could do with a bit more power, but it's very picky about staying in like a high gear, as all trucks seem to be, and the littlest thing drops it back to first. So I did this the first time without towing a loaf in high gear, so I'm going the same speed either way. Yeah, effectively right now the loaf is like a maintenance trailer. Like, I appreciate it's not got as much fuel, but it's got 120 litres in its roof rack, and then itself has got 80 litres. It's got 300 repair points though, and 4 spare tyres, so if I do hit a rock or anything on the way. But funnily enough, even though I did like pretty much all of the other run in high gear, I seemed to smash my tyres and stuff, and I did lose, like, not really control, just oversteered, etc. Like, didn't turn in time, and I clipped a few barriers. But when I was towing the loaf, even though I'm going about the same speed, I'm hitting rocks, and for whatever reason, maybe it is going a tiny bit slower. I'd have to look at the speedos, but I'm still in the high gear, and yeah, it didn't hardly smash my truck up the whole way there. It felt kind of suited lower speed steering, if that makes sense. Like, it was just nice where like I'm going at the right speed. Maybe it's because the loaf is like dragging on my back end essentially, and it's causing that to stay like in the line nicely rather than sort of drifting out sideways and stuff. So yeah, like there's other, I mean, the only 3 scouts I think are useful are the loaf, the Lodestar 1700 thing, and the Tatrin. But even like the Tatrin can be a bit like, because it wheelies a lot and you can't steer always, it can be sometimes, there is places where I've not been able to get over because I need to steer as I'm getting over, but I can't, and then you just shimmy off to the side or something. The Lodestar is easier to roll than the loaf, and it lands on its wheels less likely, so that's usually why I end up taking the loaf. But anyway, whatever scout vehicle floats your boat. But generally, I scouted in trucks because they just like loafs. Loafs are great. Get yourself a loaf. Scouts aren't as useful in this game though, anyway, because it's like you may as well take a truck and then you can do missions while you're there. But anyway, sort of enough of that. What I wanted to say is, because I want to do some highway truck reviews, but I just wanted to see what you guys think about, to a degree, there's no point, or not much point, in putting them through all the same tests as I do with the other trucks, because these are built as highway trucks, and they're going to be worse. Like, this one hasn't got... Oh, this one has got all-wheel drive. Oh yeah, I thought I was in the GMC still. So... yeah, I might end up out of curiosity doing the all the tests I do with the other trucks, but I might do some extra tests or different one, like more of like maybe heavy towing on the highway and see how they handle and that. So I'm just letting you know, see what you guys think about it, because I don't want to be unfair against them. I've used them a hell of a lot more since the Jeff Special. You see there though, I got a quicker time and I took a wrong turn. I forgot to turn right on the road, but because the loaf was, even just me towing it was sort of, I don't know, just made it smoother for whatever reason, and yeah, I overall got a better time, and I've got a repair kit when I get there, even though I didn't take anywhere near as much damage, etc. But anyway, we need to talk about the old loaf situation, because there's also, like, this is kind of why I've been bug testing, and basically it was the night my grandma died, and I wasn't on the game that night or anything. I was downstairs with my parents and granddad and stuff, and but obviously I'm up at night, so eventually, like, you know, my granddad, he was exhausted. It was an emotional day, and he needed to go to sleep, basically, get some rest. So I came back up here. I didn't want to play this game or anything, but I didn't want to flick through telly, so I thought, what I'm going to do, grab a loaf, park it on the cliffs, like I've said I like to do every now and then when I was going to make something to eat and that, and yeah, just let, like, this game has really nice sort of sunsets and all that. I was like, I'll leave it on, a bit like a TV screensaver instead of having to do anything. So, I turned the game on, and I promise you, this is me now getting backup loaf out. I even said to my mum that night, as we were leaving, I gave her a hug and I said, you know, like, just, it's like sort of what she wanted, and, you know, she's in a better place. And as sort of an offhand joke, I said, anyway, she's gone and got herself a loaf. And as much as you can in that situation, it was like, yeah, like, my mum's a fan of the loaf, she likes the loaf, and I like the loaf. And we both love the grandma to bits. Yeah, I genuinely turned the game back on, my loaf has gone, and it even picked it out of the list. I know it might just be coincidence, I'm just saying. However, the loaf, a professional as always. I mean, it doesn't end there with the old loaf, you'll see. What I'm looking at now is a Dan. When I turned Quarry back on, the loaf, I mean, he's probably just looking after me grandma. He's left me a Dan, just sat here, like another Dan. That isn't mine. Well, it is now, but, I mean, it's a gift from the loaf, and for all you OCD fans, look at the Quarry. He's cleaned all the trailers up for me. Like, what a goddamn horse of a vehicle. Get yourself a loaf. See, he was thinking about you guys as well, because he knows you don't like that OCD. Northport has gone beyond OCD. It's a curiosity now to see how many trailers end up there by the time I've done reviews, but I didn't like the trailers in the Quarry either. And yeah, I mean, look at him, he's gifted me a loaf. I mean, he's gifted me a Dan. I can't stop saying loaf. He's cleaned up all the trailers, and I've had to sell, like, top engines and all that, because I like trying to buy trucks for reviews. I mean, he's busy at the minute, he's got more important things to do, but he's left me a 130 grand truck so I can buy myself some toys. So here that's me going in the Voron. I didn't have a Voron. I couldn't stage this if I wanted to. You've seen it say new truck discovered, and there's my Voron that I've only had for like the last week, if that. Yeah, so I went and grabbed the Voron, and this is what I wanted to tell you, like, about a couple of these potential bugs. First of all, I'm online at the minute because I wanted to see if I could. Do you know what? Actually, I've just thought my Freightliner's gone as well. I never even thought about that. To be honest, that is how much of a professional the loaf is. You know, I didn't want to drive that thing back to the truck store. I just left it in. I didn't even want to recover it. I couldn't even be asked recovering it to Zimnegorsk. So yeah, well, that's gone as well. But happy days. I mean, he turned it into a Dan. Yeah, I'm online at the minute. For some reason, I couldn't switch back to the Dan when I got to Zimnegorsk. So I went back to Quarry, tried, I couldn't switch back. And look, when I get off, like, the online mode, it says truck obtained 1. So I loaded up, like, now the normal mode, and I left that blank screen in because it just stayed on a black screen for about 10 seconds, and I was like, oh no. And then it loaded up drowned lands instead of quarry, and you can see that Scout 800, that's like my sacrificial tester, because like when my Voron went, I think it was like obviously the last vehicle I had and that. So anyway, I loaded the normal game back up, loaded quarry up, and I went and looked, and as you can see, I've still got the Voron and the Dan. Only now I chose the Dan as I was going into the map, and I've got the Dan again, and it seemed to appear like, for those of you who already rescued it, where the original Dan was, and look, no trailers. That cliffhanger mission, I honestly, when they updated this game last, I'm certain I didn't have that cliffhanger mission, because it's so easy to see for me now. I've been flying around the quarry for weeks, months, and I never seen that TUZ or that cliffhanger mission until I got that last major update. Yeah, I was just having a little look around the map. Obviously this was all like kind of new to me at the time. I've never had, like, when my Voron glitched, this is basically what I reckon is related to the bug, but I've been trying to test it tonight and I can't repeat it. But when I turned the game off, I just recovered my Voron to Zimnegorsk and I didn't retain my truck, and then my Voron was gone. And then now, like, when I turn the game back on, the weird thing is my loaf was like second or third in the list. I had the sacrificial Scout 800 above it, but for whatever reason, yeah, like the loaf went, the trailer's gone, and I only just realised the Freightliner's gone. But this Dan was here, and as you can see, it's all stock. It's like, yeah, when I was looking in tyres, I was wondering how I own all the tyres, but I assume is the Dolphin 51-inch tyres. I just thought off the top of my head it was 50, but if I own all these different types of tyres, I bet it must be the same size tyres as like the Dolphin or something. But anyway, point being, it's a completely stock Dan as you would like originally find it when you get to quarry, and you obviously have a chance to do the mission to get the Dan. But obviously normally you have to do a mission, whereas like, because the loaf's such a professional, it just left me a Dan and I didn't have to do any missions or anything. And look, there's my original Dan. I haven't got the time, money, effort, strength, everything to just, I wouldn't bother making this up, because it just, like, you can't make this up. It's pointless anyway if I was making it up. Yeah, even this Dan I've got now, that's not even got the top engine in at the minute, because, so it's normally worth a bit more, but I sold the engine to buy, I think it helped towards the club, which I then sold the club for the Freightliner. And then because they broke the steering on the Freightliner, and the loaf knows that I didn't like the steering, he turned it into a Dan for me. So, I mean, what a goddamn horse of a vehicle, get yourself a loaf. It's one of the more expensive trucks in the game, so it's about the best thing you could have turned it into. It's actually more expensive than the Freightliner. Yeah, however, the loaf, being the loaf, it's not the end of the story. And I genuinely forgot this for a long while. However, if any of you guys have seen the Rift exploration video, I said when I updated the game, the loaf duplicated itself, my original OG loaf, and then the next day in the gameplay video, I said, oh, I went back and looked, and I've only got one loaf again, which I said that's fair enough. But then I said, obviously, it prick-teased me with the idea, so that's why I went and bought this custom loaf, and I made the video. That's how that whole friends loaf little bit just appeared at the end of the Rift gameplay, because when I was messing around that night with these, there I am rescuing that Voron. I mean, look at it, you thought the loaf was down, so it doesn't even need its mate. His mate's just watching, he's learning. Loaf trained. Yeah, when I went back on the game the next day, my loaf had still duplicated itself, and it was waiting in the White Valley garage. I hadn't retained it, and that's why I could only see one in my thing again. And I painted it yellow. So, ladies and gentlemen, the loaf, a goddamn horse of a vehicle, planned for this eventuality weeks ago and duplicated himself. So, not only did he ensure that I was still able to have access to my loaf time, but he's given me a Dan as a present, which gave me 130 grand, which I'm goddamn taking, especially now it's taken my Freightliner. But he's also cleaned the trailers up in quarry. I mean, could you ask for anything more than a loaf? I just had to take him out for a little spin, make sure he's the real deal. And I mean, look at him, he makes them corners. He's a professional. He's a clone. He's not even, I was going to call him Mark II Loaf, but he's not. I mean, even if he is a Mark II Escort, who wouldn't want a Mark II Escort? Who wouldn't want a Mark I Escort? Yeah, I mean, look how happy he is. Got his right shoes on, he's galloping out that stable. Goddamn horse. He's professional. And we're off again. You just can't keep a good loaf down. Well, I mean, look, here's the old loaf pack. So I've got OG loaf, possibly Mark II loaf, but he's a clone, he's a twin, he's the same, he's the real deal. So because he treated me to a Dan, I went and bought myself another yellow loaf. Obviously I've got my custom loaf. That's like my friend's loaf. That was when I thought I'd been cock teased and I had to go and get a loaf. That's my red loaf, that's my wholemeal loaf, even though he's orange. Does whatever he likes. I mean, look, got a new member of the family. Got myself a blue loaf. When I was looking through, I mean, look at him, he says hello. Yeah, I was looking through the colours, I don't know, soon I've seen this one. It's like, yes, I like it. So within minutes, I did try to wear a trailer like a hat. Like, definitely a proper loaf. He gave me loaf tendencies. Yeah, I mean, as you can see, a pretty goddamn good effort considering he's just a little baby, but I tried to wear it like a hat. I need a little bit more time, if I'm honest. I called Bruce, they met. Yeah. You know when you try and turn the trailer left or right with a D-pad, or you try and turn cargo? It takes so long, I just couldn't handle keep trying to turn the trailer. Because there's not very good winch points on this, so in the end it's like, you know, a loaf's got to do what a loaf's got to do. So he did it himself. I mean, I told you I was going to wear it like a hat. Look at it. I look like a boat with a little pointy nose. I've winched the trailer onto me and we're off. See? Stealing trailer. Not even an army base this time. I'm stealing it from myself. That's how much of a professional the loaf is. Now I can claim back on the trailer, you see. But anyway, went for a hard right. Trailer fell off, but loaf doesn't mess around. Maybe he wanted that to happen. But all I wanted to say with this point, you see that stupid scout trailer in the background? Like, don't bother with it. The tyres are too small, the mud flaps are like spades, and the axles dig into everything because they're only about an inch off the floor. I mean, look at this thing pulling this trailer, it's fine. I did a U-turn. I'm going wherever, I'm at the farm now in Black River, just to show, I mean, this is like, how dare they? Like, do you not know I'm a cargo loaf? But for some odd reason, it won't let me put, I'm sure I've put cargo into a trailer, because even when I'm winching a trailer with like, it definitely let me drop cargo off. I remember that in one of the where the ANK did the 10 cargo run in White Valley, but I'll have to try it. But I thought I used to be able to put cargo in with scout vehicles. But anyway, as you can see, this mud, drive a lot of trucks through here and they get stuck in this mud or are very slow. This thing, it's funny actually, when you go and read the description of the loaf, it literally says this thing's a bit clumsy on the road, but it excels in mud and boggy water and stuff, and it's like, yeah, goddamn professional. Even said it's still used to this day in Russia, which shows how durable it is, and it's like, yeah, I agree. Russia, like, there's a reason people don't land invade Russia, like, it's some serious terrain. Yeah, and I mean, this thing skips around Russia like it's nothing. I mean, it makes them corners, it makes them gaps. Went and said hello to OG Loaf. They're mates. So yeah, now I've got 6, so I'm on my way. I don't know how, I'm skint again as well. I did buy a couple of sacrificial Don 71s, because I'm going to keep trying to work if I can see if I can replicate the glitch thing, so I can tell you guys exactly what it is. But my advice would be, don't, when you recover something from Quarry back to Zimnegorsk, 1, retain it in your garage, and 2, don't just turn your game off. Just like change location to say White Valley, because for some reason it's twice it's happened. I've gone back to get footage, so I've just been in a bit of a rush. I've got the footage on Quarry, I did it with a Voron, I did it with a Freightliner, and by the time I got back, when I turned the game back on, yeah, they were missing, and like I say, for some reason it plucked my loaf of all things. Well, I mean, he duplicated himself, so It took, for all I know, it took the false one. Well, this might be the actual OG. OG triple OG. Look at him. I mean, when I went and found him, he was looking pale. You'd almost say he was looking like yellow, like he had jaundice. I had jaundice when I was a baby. I was like a little banana when I was born. So I had to go and grill him up in the sun a bit. Yeah, he's feeling better. That's what I always get told. Get your vitamin D. See, I'm up at night, so I don't get much of that vitamin D, but see, I can play SnowRunner, and I mean, this counts, doesn't it? It's like when you eat fruit pastels, it's fruit, innit? It's gotta be. Otherwise, it's like false advertising, innit? It's like I was having a tuna sandwich the other day, and it said dolphin friendly, and it's like, made me feel bad eating it. It knew my dolphin and everything. Like, they were mates, apparently, so... But it can't lie about that sort of thing. I mean, look at the professionalism of the loaf. You think, oh, it's rolled, but it's not. See, this tree was on the list, and it had to nail it. It was the plan all along. Anyway, I've not talked bollocks for long enough, and it's about time I've talked some bollocks, because I was thinking this the other month, to be honest. But my grandma was talking to me the other week, saying like she'd rather get cremated, and that's what she wants. And it's like, yeah, fair enough. And I was thinking, like, I've always wanted to be cremated before, and when I was young I always said, yeah, I'd rather just be cremated. But then I was thinking, like, over the last few years, that part of me, and it is a bit of a like, I was thinking I'd rather be buried, and the only good reason I can think of really is some small part of me hopes that if I'm buried, that's like my bit of land, and then I'm awkward because I'm there, and like, if some bloody government's trying to get elected and they're like, oh, we'll build a high-speed rail in the 2400s, and then they go, oh, god damn, there's some wanker buried here. It's like, yes, that was me. I waited 400 years for this. That's for taxing me in the 21st century, bitch. And blowing on a bloody second duck house or whatever the hell it is they're buying these days. You bloody animals. Like, I'd do it. It's worth it. I'd do it for that alone. And I also was thinking, like, if I was to be buried, I'd get a gravestone, and I'd like to write on my gravestone, if you can read it. It'd have to be like in very small writing, so you have to get nice and close to read it, but it'd say, if you can read this, you're standing on my head. And to be fair, if it was up to me, I'd probably use terminology a little bit more exotic than you're standing on my head. However, you know, it's a graveyard, got to be respectful. Plus, I mean, if it said I was standing on that, I'd have to like, it'd have to be like the Hollywood sign. I mean, I'd be skint in gravestone carvings, so probably still be standing on it like when you go home. Yeah, but then I was also thinking, like, I don't mind, like, if I was buried, I don't mind. I remember, who was it telling me, but they said they don't want to be buried because they don't want any worms eating them. But then I was thinking, like, I don't really mind about that. But then I sort of thought, actually, look, I don't know if I want a worm eating me knob though. Like, that now started putting me off. But then I started thinking, I could get a lead-lined coffin, but to be honest, I can't afford a lead-lined coffin. And then I was thinking I could get, you know, like a lead-lined coffin. And but then I was like, that's just going to cause an international lead shortage, and the world's had enough trouble without me causing a global bloody economic turndown just because I've crashed the price of gold and the price of lead shot up because I've created a lead shortage. I mean, never mind a lead-lined coffin, it'd have to be like a lead-lined village. Yeah, so I don't know really, but then I was kind of thinking in the end, do you know what? If a worm wants to attempt that meal, good bloody luck to him. I'll tell you for a fact, it'll be a fatter worm than when he started. So, I mean, that one will survive a nuclear winter. Like, that'll be a new species of worm that'll bloody be the first worm ever to go in hibernation because it's got plentiful meal supplies. I'm telling you, that thing will be like the bloody sandworm off Beetlejuice. Say Lone Wolf 3 times and that worm will appear. So yeah, I mean, good for the environment. I'll have to keep thinking about it. See, you're just overhearing my brain's thoughts. That's what's happening here, but who cares? I was thinking the other week as well, moles are arseholes, I've decided. Like, I know I want to be possibly buried on the off chance I could annoy someone in government in 400 years' time, but I'm not really an arsehole. I'm more of like a hemorrhoid. I irritate arseholes. It's just, I mean, it's a gift. But a mole. A mole is just a straight up arsehole. Like, what is it even doing? Why is it digging around everywhere? Why is it wrecking everybody's gardens and stuff? And, I mean, yeah, like, I can't think of a more inefficient creature than a mole. And if aliens ever visited, if they exist and they had like loads of good technology, imagine if they found moles before they found us. They'd be like, look at this Barry, this thing's a fucking idiot. Like, it just digs its way around doing nothing. And if you say, oh, it eats worms, it's like birds eat worms as well. But if you ever seen a bird do its little tappy feet dance on your garden, that's because it's trying to trick worms into thinking it's raining, and that's the sound of rain they can hear. So they come to the surface and then the bird eats them. So we can only hope, if aliens exist, that they find birds before they find moles, because moles are a goddamn embarrassment. And all they do every now and then, like I say, dig around, and then they pop out in my garden, leave a big fat molehill, look around and just go, oh, and then go back in. It's like, what do you mean? Oh, you prick, you just ruined my garden for nothing. Like, yeah, they need to sort themselves out. Moles goddamn animals. If anyone knows of a creature more inefficient than a mole, let me know, but I can't think of one. Like, I think that has got it the most wrong that it can go. Anyway, I'll stop picking on moles. Just last quick one, this is why you get yourself a loaf. I was practicing getting out the back of my sideboard thing, and this is what I've noticed is when you do it on a road, it like catches on the road just enough that I couldn't quite reverse, so I winched to a tree. As you can see though, Loaf is goddamn professional. He's hanging on. Like, if I need to winch something now, if I was pulling the Azov back, then, you know, I mean, look at him. He never lets go. At this point, I was like, well, obviously I've got the advanced winch on. I know, like, I could have had the autonomous winch, but I've got my my dolphin with me, so I don't need it. Like I say, you've seen me drive out the sideboard. Look at him. I set off. What a goddamn professional. Right now, you're probably taking some imaginary sunglasses off and saying Mother of God, because, I mean, that's some serious shit. Just to, as soon as I set off, he just jumped on the back. Look at him, he's hanging on like a good un, because he knows we're travelling again. And yeah, that's why you get yourself a loaf. You see his front axles hang on to everything, but when you press reverse, like while I was hanging on with that winch, if I was pressing reverse, I should have just flicked over the back of the sideboard. I can't even remember. It'd be nice to see if I could tell when I'm putting like acceleration input in and stuff. But yeah, so started driving off-road. I didn't even see that tree because I was looking at the loafiness of the loaf. But yeah, look, we're back off-road. Dolphin and Loaf carrying on as usual. Yeah, that's why you get yourself a loaf, because he's just hassle-free little professional. Anyway, that is about enough talking bollocks for today. Yeah, I'm going to try and get on with a proper review on that. Again, get some reviews on the go before the DLC comes out. So that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed. Look out for that bug with Zimnagors. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon.